Back with another edition of your favorite breakdown show with the venerable Marcel Dorff. Introduction's not really needed. Davidson Baker here is your host. Marcel, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. A little bit of a hectic day. I know last week, the frustrations of Marcel and I sitting down and taking 45 minutes to do the breakdown last week didn't even come to fruition with an actual post because of some sort of snafu that happened in the conversion over to MP3. Not important. Not important at all. What is important is we have a badass fight card that feels like a pay-per-view in a lot of senses coming our way tomorrow. 14 fights, and we don't need to go through the nuances of how many will be on there tomorrow. We can just break down what we have in front of us, and what we have in front of us is a pretty juicy fight card. Jerome Rivera makes his debut to start things off just a few weeks after he debuted on the Contender Series in a fight that, some people thought he and really believed that he lost, taking on a guy who is riding as high as he has in his career so far off that knockout win in Tyson Nam. What do you think about this opener for tomorrow night, Marcel?
Yeah, fun opener, but yeah, he lost that fight, man. Let's be honest. I mean,
agreed.
That was one of the few times I agree with Dana White there. So, yeah, he lost that fight. Tyson Nam was supposed to fight last week, I think, against Matt Schnell. Didn't happen. Schnell had collapsed during his weight cut, I think. So, all best to Matt Schnell. Yeah, man. Difficult fight to pick, I think. I'm not really impressed by Nam, but if I have to look what he did so far, I think he is the favorite in this fight. I'm taking Tyson Nam probably by, I think, a stoppage, man. Third round knockout.
I'm feeling about the same way. Like, I'm on that same wavelength as well. Nam has looked, I think he's looked good in his last few fights. And I mean, his record, at least right now, 19-11 and 1 draw. It is not indicative, really, A, of who he's fought, because he's fought really tough guys on the regional scene. Yeah. And B, it also is not indicative of, how good he is as a fighter. At flyweight, there aren't very many bodies, as we know, that are that size. And getting fights sometimes can be kind of reciprocated. However, I mean, Nam, where'd he come from? Regionally, he fought everywhere, man. Like, he fought in Cage Fury. He fought all over the place regionally. I like the experience here, and I'm going to go with Nam, too. As we move along, Erwin Rivera, there's just this big sample size of guys that have had really important 2020s with the company. And this is another guy that has, especially breaking into the company and debuting, as we touched on our last breakdown that he was on, about as well as you can with the loss. And he'll be taking on Andre Ewell, who I saw in Houston get a win over Jonathan Martinez. It will be. I think this has the potential to be a fun fight with some fireworks. What say you?
Yeah, Davidson going from fight 1 to fight 3, but that's all good.
I'm the wrong order then.
Andre Ewell has looked decent in his UFC fights. I think his Jonathan Martinez win was kind of controversial, I think, the last time. Erwin Rivera, he came into the UFC on short notice, taking on Giga Chikadze, showed a lot of heart in the fight, lost, but recently won against Ali Al-Kaisi, a very close fight, split decision win. Very close fight, this one. I guess Rivera's the favorite, but I'm taking Ewell here. I think Ewell gets it done, unanimous decision.
I'm with you. I like Andre Ewell's upside in this fight, particularly matchup and stylistic wise. I do think that there are paths for Rivera to win this fight. Rivera could win this fight by finish. However, I am going to go with Andre Ewell. So where's the order then? Because I'm looking on Fight Center and
you gotta check ESPN fights.
I am on ESPN. That's what it says.
Let me check.
It says so. We got Nam Rivera, Ewell Rivera. And then says next is Newson Costa.
Let me check. Oh, what the hell?
They do this to you every time, bro.
They have changed it again, man, because the second fight was Derek Miller against TJ Laramie first.
There were, I thought there were, and we'll get into that matchup in just a second, but I thought there were kind of rumors going around that Laramie might be out of that fight, and
that was because the UFC website are idiots, and they put on Derek Miller versus TBA.
TBD, right? Yeah.
Oh, TBD, yeah.
Yeah, the people, as you know, probably better than anybody. They don't know what they're doing.
I remember when ESPN had the fight of Lerone Murphy, and they had a picture of Lauren Murphy.
I didn't know that.
Or with Miranda Danger Granger, and they had to put the picture of Matt Schnell because he's also Danger, not Danger Schnell.
How do you? I don't even get how that can even possibly be mixed up. Dude, we move along to a fight that I think could see someone get floored. These two guys can definitely do some damage on the feet. Journey Newson and Randy Costa. So we do not need to state Davidson's opinion as far as why Journey Newson's last win was overturned, even though it is ludicrous. But man, he absolutely floored Domingo Pilarte and got a huge win for himself and his career. And Randy Costa, a guy that is, very flashy on the feet, throws a lot of kicks in the high, throws a lot of high kicks, throws a lot of kicks to the body. This could be a really fun fight, and I definitely see, as far as lower weight classes go, a fight that has finish written all over it is certainly this one, in my opinion. My man, you got anything?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think this will be a fun fight. I really expect fireworks here. I think probably Journey Newson is a favorite here. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling Randy Costa is going to get it done, man. I think he is much taller, actually. He has the reach advantage here. I think he has to keep Journey Newson more on the outside, and I think Randy Costa can punch his way into a unanimous decision win. And this is a fight that could be a fight of the night candidate.
I agree. And you're right. Newson is the favorite right now, kind of hovering on that minus 135, minus 140 line. I am picking Costa as well, though. So we are on the same terms so far as we move along. And a guy that came into Contender Series this summer, you could really argue he'd been kind of right in the wings for a UFC contract for a while, is TJ Laramie at 145 pounds. Takes care of Daniel Swain in the octagon in the Contender Series, and now he'll get to move up to the actual octagon this week and take on a guy in Derek Minner, who at this point, he's not. Derek Minner is going to be given and match made with these type of guys, right? Like Herbert Burns was last, but we're gonna see what goes forward with Minner at this point, as far as his career is concerned, and he's got a tough matchup in front of him in TJ Laramie.
Yeah, man. I mean, when this fight got announced, I was pretty sure who should choose immediately. I think TJ Laramie has a lot of talent. He was in danger against Daniel Swain, man, but he came back from adversity and he won. Derek Minner, he actually did look good in his last fight against Grant Dawson in the beginning, but Grant Dawson took over. I'm taking Laramie here. I think also Laramie finishes him via TKO in the second round.
I've also got Laramie by TKO as well. This is a guy I'm going to keep my eye on at 145. Really really clean striking, and he's really good everywhere from what I noticed when really looking up on his regional fights before the Contender Series. He's really good everywhere. Positionally is where he impressed me, like in transitionally, like going from back take to triangle. I mean, I think he's a little bit better in those areas than people give him credit for. And I think we could see some of that tomorrow night. Moving along to now fighting at 135, formerly fighting at 125, Jessica Rose Clark. This is a fight. I mean, there's really no way to put this other than this is a fight where she really needs to find her footing. Because, yes, I get it. Like, losing 3 fights in a row is never good for anybody in the UFC, obviously. But it's just like you don't normally see girls lose their roster spot after losing 3 fights in a row. But still, it's never a good fortune to have that happen. And that is the reality that Jessica Rose Clark is staring in the face despite being a 2-1 favorite against Sarah Alpar tomorrow night. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Finally, Sarah Alpar's UFC debut. It took some time, though, mostly due to COVID, because she was supposed to fight, I think, Vanessa Mello, right? Before COVID came and that the event got scrapped. LFA champ. She looked decent in the Contender Series, I think. Jessica Rose Clark, like you said, lost her last 2 fights. But those were fights you can lose. It was against Penny Kianzad, and she lost to. You gotta help me. What was the other girl again?
Dude, I'm having a hard time. Oh, was it Jessica I?
Yeah, it was Jessica. Indeed. Yeah, it was in
That was a
Singapore.
while ago, man.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, actually. Yeah. Man, close fight. My gut feeling says Jessica Rose Clark takes a split decision here, but very close fight.
You know, I'm gonna take the signs on the tea leaves here, and we're gonna have our first opposite pick in the night. I'm gonna go with Alpar to get the win in her debut. The things that I've seen, Jessica Rose Clark, at least coming off the Paige Van Zant win, which, by the way, no disrespect, but I think people are starting to figure out, at least at this point, that beating Paige Van Zant does not necessarily give any inference towards a higher level of skill, more so that you beat someone with a lot of Instagram followers. That's just my opinion. But it seems at this point that win has not aged very well, and that is her last win. And I know a lot of people were really high on her when she won that fight. I like Alpar's toughness. I like her heart. I like, her stand up has improved a lot, even though she won by sub in her last fight. I'm gonna go with Alpar here.
I have a feeling you really like her.
Well, she's from my state, but I try not to like pick based on like geographical locations, but we do the best we can.
Yeah.
Moving along down a weight class to 125, I believe, if my page will like actually go up. It says on Tapology that's the next fight. Am I right? Bueno Silva and Barella.
Yeah.
Mara Romero Barella and Myra Bueno Silva. Okay.
Yeah.
Bueno Silva is about a 2.5 to 1 favorite right now. And I think rightfully so. Barella became the first woman, to actually win like an actually booked flyweight fight, even though like Latorno and Calderwood technically was, but it wasn't like the weight class wasn't actually formed yet. Barella was actually, after the weight class was formed, the first flyweight to get like a win in the UFC when the division was formed, and it feels like ever since then it's just been all downhill from there for her. Your thoughts on this one?
I still have my eardrums in pain when she defeated the Brazilian, which I forgot the name of.
Kalindra Faria.
Yeah, Kalindra Faria. My God, dude, that was so much screaming.
Dude, it was the third fight on that pay-per-view. It was like right before Johnson and Borg.
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah.
Man, I kind of feel this is a mismatch, man. I'm fully on Myra Bueno Silva getting a submission win in the first round.
I'm with you completely. I'm on your side with this one 100%. I think, Silva is going to be, at least in my opinion, someone who would be really driven after a loss. Not recently, but when she lost to Jillian Robertson, especially in the fashion in which she did. I mean, yeah, I get it. Like the ground is Jillian Robertson's world too, but I feel like that is Bueno Silva's world as well, and I think that she does get a win by sub, just like you. So, Mirsad Bektic, really hard for me not to show like favorable like stuff here, because this is a guy, at least just from my vantage point, that is one of my favorite people in the sport. Bektic is taking on Damon Jackson tomorrow. He was supposed to take on, man, I can never say this guy's name right. Garagori, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I say it like that.
From Uruguay, yeah. So I know they were supposed to fight last week too. So now he gets Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson, ton of experience, and he's got 5 more fights than Bektic does, despite the fact that Jackson, correct me if I'm wrong, has he had a UFC stint before?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
a draw, a loss, and a no contest.
That's right. The no contest was Honey Jason. Yeah, he lost to Yancy Medeiros. Okay.
Yeah.
So he returns this week. Ever since he lost to Kevin Aguilar, he's been kind of on the uptick. He's 6-1 in his last 7 fights. He won by rear naked choke back in March. And now he will be and that one loss was just that flash knockout in PFL. And now he'll be moving on to take on Mirsad Bektic. I mean, the experience doesn't really. I don't look at this fight like I look at the one earlier with Nam and Rivera and point towards the experience factor here, just because Bektik's got a lot more highest level experience, which I factor in more. Do you what say you?
Yeah, indeed. I think for Damon Jackson, the annoying thing is that he is a great fighter, but he will always people will point him out with the Movlit fight, that crazy KO, and that really weird submission loss against Jancy Medeiros in the UFC. That inverted, I don't know what, that was a really weird thing. Bektic,
Reverse bulldog choke.
Yeah, Bektic, in my opinion, one of the best unranked featherweights in the UFC. Very close fight against Ige. Man, I'm taking Bektic here, man. I think he gets it done. Don't see him finishing Jackson, honestly. I think just a clear unanimous decision win for Marcel.
I agree. I'm on the Bektic train here as well. He was ranked for quite a long time, and dude, he got off to quite the start in his career and was undefeated. And then, obviously the Darren Elkins fight is what people point to often, and he got finished by Emmett. But these are all like top guys. The Ige fight, it was really close. So Bektic is still like a top level guy, at least in my opinion. That top 15, top 20 in the world at 145. Something that Damon Jackson, good fighter, but I do not believe to be of that ilk. So we move along. Our featured prelim ranked flyweights, Jordan Espinoza, and a guy that I don't think anybody is talking about right now as far as the flyweight landscape, and they should be, and that is David Dvorak. Did I say that correctly?
I think so. I'm not from Czech Republic, but I say the same. So.
I think I said that correctly. But man, this guy has been on a tear. 14 wins in a row, and he, as well as Yuri Prochaska, looking to bring the Czech Republic up to the forefront in the UFC, and he could do it and crack the top 10 potentially, or right outside the top 10 of the flyweight rankings with this weekend. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I think this fight is an important one for flyweight division. Definitely for these guys. I mean, Jordan Espinoza, he's a decent fighter, but he hasn't looked really spectacular in the UFC so far, in my opinion. David Dvorak won his fight against Bruno Silva in Brazil in March, in a fight he clearly won, but Michael Bisping had a 2-0 after 2 rounds for Bruno Silva, and he was like, Dvorak needs a finish. I was like, what the hell, dude? Everybody was like, what the hell, dude? All Twitter was like, Bisping, what are you watching? Normally, I really like Bisping, by the way, the commentary booth. I think he's really doing well. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the line is so close or almost even. I think Dvorak should be a favorite here. I'm taking David Dvorak, getting this fight via a TKO in the second round.
I like Dvorak here too. Like I said going into it, I think this is a guy that nobody is talking about that should be talking about, especially in particular at 125 pounds. An important fight for that bottom half of the top rankings, especially in a division that right now I wouldn't say is anybody's for the taking, because obviously Figueiredo has clearly asserted himself as top dog for now. But we will see how it unfolds. That's one of the more fascinating divisions to me, even if yeah, we don't like flyweight slander on this podcast. We move along. Kevin Holland, Darren Stewart kick things off on a main card that I believe is one of the better ones that we've had this year. Man, this one, there's a lot of ways this could go. Like, I'm not saying Darren Stewart, just based off of beating Maki Pitolo, is now, or submitting him rather, is now like Honor Gracie. Like, that's not what I'm saying, but it's just like, you add elements to your game as you grow as a fighter. And I think that's what Darren Stewart has done ultimately going along. From the moment at the end of round 1 against Charles Byrd on, to me, at least from my vantage point, he's almost looked like a completely different fighter and has looked almost like engaged in a different way. Kevin Holland I've learned, at least going into Kevin Holland's fights, I don't know what to expect. Like, I really don't. Like, this is a guy with all the talent in the world. He is long, he is big, and he is strong and athletic. This one, much like earlier talking about Newson and Costa, this one has fight of the night potential for sure. What are your thoughts on this main card opener?
Yeah, man, Kevin Holland representing the two provinces of North and South Holland over here. And Darren Stewart representing the Tyron Woodley look. Yeah, this is, yeah, I think it's a fun fight. A little bit closer than the line I see. I think it's minus 240 against plus 200. I think it should be a little bit more closer. Overall, I can't go against Kevin Holland lately, man. Kevin Holland has looked phenomenal so far in his last couple of fights. Darren Stewart looked good against Maki Pitolo by submitting him, but I think Holland, I favor Holland in this one, man. It's a close fight, I think, but I see Holland taking the unanimous decision win here.
I like Holland as well. I think it's, man, I mean, if Stewart has
you better like Holland as well.
Stewart has the potential to win this fight. There's no doubt about it. And I think that's what makes this fight close, is both of them can win. However, I do like Kevin Holland here. I think he's got more upside. I think potentially, even though none of us really know tit for tat, skill for skill, I do think, when you align his skills with Stewart's, he's probably the more talented of the two. And I do think it's his fight to lose. So I'm going to go with Holland as well as we move along. Okay, can we just say rest in peace to something real quick? Rest in peace to all of the nonsensical, at least at this point, Mackenzie Dern weight cut slanderous. Dude, can we put that narrative to bed now? Like, she had a child. And yeah, I get it. Like, when she missed weight against Amanda Cooper, it was so inexcusable in the manner in which she missed weight and how much she missed weight that it almost implicates that it wasn't like a difficulty thing. It was more so her giving up and learning her lesson. And I mean, she's batting 1,000 ever since. So I'm just saying, is it fair to put that to rest at this point?
You asking me?
Given the weight cuts, yeah.
No, I think she deserves all the slander. No, just kidding, man. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's just like I think she only missed weight like once or twice in the last 5, 6. I mean, she made weight in the last 2, I know. So, and she actually made championship weight 115. So yeah, I mean, it's okay, man. I mean. People will always, and if they're not talking about her weight, they will talk about her accent. So it's everything, It's all the time something. So,
yeah. The initial lean here is obviously going to be Dern by sub. I think that's what most people would point their fingers to too. Randa Marcos has been in this kind of proverbial UFC space since the division was incepted. This is just kind of another bring Dern along fight, I feel, since the Hebos loss. I don't know how much longer they can do that though, as far as the UFC is concerned, because they're running out of girls to match her up with. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I think Mackenzie Dern a very winnable fight for her, man. I mean, we all know Randa Marcos prefers also kind of loves to go to the ground, And you can do that with Dern. Dern is a level above her, I think. And in the stand-up, I think Dern will take it to the ground as soon as possible. Submission win first round for Dern.
I agree. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of analysis, but hey, man, we've been wrong before. We've all been wrong before. We move along, and this is like the meat and potatoes right here, right? Like this 4-pack right here at the top has got people ready to do plyometrics, including myself. I'm jacked up about it. However, I must say, this is Johnny Walker's first time stepping back into the octagon since one of us had a horrible time watching him fight. So that's going to give me a little bit of PTSD this weekend. For those that don't want the skinny, on the former Between the Links show on this network, I'm sure you probably, if you listen to this network, when Johnny Walker fought Nikita Krylov, I was so confident that fight was not going to go to the scorecards that I bet my hair in the form of Larry David, Kevin of The Office, the bull behind the baldness, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, if you watch the UFC, you know how that went. So that was a little bit of fun at my expense. And I think, Marcel, even your parents saw that, right?
Yeah, man, I showed it to my parents. I actually showed the clip, that whole clip, man.
The clip is great.
Yeah.
No, I've showed the clip to people. The clip's great.
people should look it up, man. If you listen to this and you want the clip, just let me know and I will send you the clip.
It is on
Uh,
Loudmouth's. It is on Loudmouth's YouTube channel as well. I'm okay with laughing at myself. I think the clip is hilarious. It's on
shout
Loudmouth's YouTube channel under the big reveal.
yeah, shout out to you, man, because you did it and you even taped it. So all good, man. I mean,
Did
respect
you
for
see
that.
the comments, bro? The comments are what have me that have me laughing so hard. One person said, "This is better than the birth of my kid." Oh man, no, I mean, this is a great fight. All jokes aside, I really like this fight. And Ryan Spann, as we continue to trot along these narratives of guys that have like kind of one trajectory one way or the other since a certain moment, Ryan Spann, since he was stopped so quickly by Carl Robertson on the Contender Series, man, has he just turned it up. Like, he has put his foot on the gas ever since. He has won 8 fights in a row since that loss, including, I mean, the fastest submission in Contender Series history against Emiliano Sordi. I believe you tweeted that the other day.
Yeah.
A win over, I mean, I get it, big nog or little nog, but I mean, still, you have little nog on your record. Devin Clark after that, and then Sam Alvey in his last fight. 8 wins in a row for a guy that's looking to make noise at 205 and continue putting Fortis MMA on the map. Johnny Walker's going to need to bounce back here, man. This is a pretty fascinating fight. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is indeed a fascinating fight. I think Ryan Spann, he looked good, but in his last fight, his cardio kind of looked not so good against Sam Alvey in his last round. Johnny Walker, yeah, man, his last 2 fights, what can you say? He got pretty much stopped by Corey Anderson. I mean, I expected if Anderson won, it would have been via decision, but not the way he did it there. And then Walker against Krylov, your favorite fight, that went to a decision. Krylov pretty much took him down and hold him to the ground. And I think Spann has the credentials to also take him down and keep him on the ground. And if Spann can implement that game plan, it will be a bad night for Johnny Walker, I think. The only thing is, if Ryan Spann falls in love with his striking, he can get caught by Johnny Walker. That's probably that can happen. So it's either Johnny Walker gonna finish Spann in the first round via his flash KO, I think, or Ryan Spann maybe stops him via ground and pound, or wins a unanimous decision win via taking him down and grind him out. And I think the last thing gonna happen. I think Ryan Spann here via unanimous decision. I think he's gonna take Walker down. And if he sees he can keep Walker down, he will keep Walker down. So, yeah.
It's hard to imagine any other scenario, especially given Walker's last 2 fights. Well, I mean, really last fight, but who's to disagree with if Corey Anderson had the same game plan that it wouldn't have been successful at this point? Probably no one. And I don't blame anybody and I'm of the same mindset of people that believe that that's how this fight's going to go, and I agree. Like, Spann will be going for his 9th win in a row, as I mentioned, and in this weight class, all it really takes is 1 or 2 wins over names of note, and I mean, look where it could put you. I know Yuri Prochaska debuted, but I mean, look where it put him. 1 win over Ozdemir, he's all of a sudden in the top 7. All it takes is 1 or 2, especially of the impressive variety, and your stance in this division can change. So big fight for both of these guys. Okay, the fight most people are talking about ad nauseum is obviously this one. This is kind of uncharted territory, right? Like, we are in a scenario now in which we are going to analyze not only because let's get this straight. From here, this point forward, every single step, every single move, at least by most of the UFC contingency and fans, are going to have their eyes on Chimaev. They're going to try to pick him apart. They're going to try to tear him down any way they can because of how successful he's been and because of how dominant he's been. This is not an easy fight for him. I think that's obvious, and I think that's why the UFC made this fight. Meerschaert is big. Meerschaert is skilled. He is a bitch to deal with on the ground, but obviously so is Chimaev. And Chimaev now, we're going to see, like, not only how he fares in this fight, but if he is going to be in good enough shape to make the talks possible to turn around and go from a guy like Mearshart to Maia, because if he pulls that off, how can you fault how can you slander the guy, right? I mean, you can't. It's something that hasn't been done. What are your whole thoughts on the whole, like that whole process, man? We haven't seen this before, if at all.
Yeah, it's. Do you ask me now why the double booking?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, dude, like, what do you foresee potentially happening? Like, do you think he comes out of the octagon like ready to go for Fight Island, let alone win?
Honestly, wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, like you said, Marcel is a good opponent. He's a tough guy. So the thing is, I don't see this as a squash match at all or something. You know, I think the odds are a little bit off, but I mean, Chimaev. The thing is, and I talked with someone else earlier about this today. When you see a certain person fight, you can see a potential in that person, you know, and it doesn't even have to be a top fighter he's fighting. You know, you see a certain potential in somebody. And I see that potential in Chimaev, and I think many people see that. Will this be an easy fight? Definitely not. Job Mershad is good. Definitely he's good on the ground. That's his thing. I saw Chimaev saying like, "You are not a real black belt because he tapped to Hermanson, I think, or something." And then Mershad is like, "If you submit me or something, or you choke me, then you can have my black belt or something." So I don't know. I'm curious what's going to happen. If I have to put my money on somebody, I pick Chimaev, and I'm taking him via unanimous decision win.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like as far as the line is concerned, he's hovering right around minus 450 right now, Chimaev. While I'm with you, I don't necessarily think as far as the fight stylistically, like if I were lining it, like maybe minus 350. But I gotta be honest with you, I expected the odds to be wider than that. Like I expected the lines to be like minus 5, minus 600. That's just what I guessed, but you know, a lot of credit being given to Chimaev here. He'll be the biggest favorite on the card once again. I feel like that's a narrative that he will carry along. I do like Chimaev here. And man, I mean, his career is fascinating for a lot of reasons, and his uprising right now is something that we do not see very often. And especially if he moves on to take on a guy like Damian Maia, let alone win, I mean, then the conversation can be had. Where do you possibly go from there? It's just all very fascinating to me. As we move ahead.
What's your pick, dude?
Oh, Chimaev.
Okay.
Well, I thought we both. Yeah.
I figured, but I want to hear it clear.
Of course. Of course. We've got I mean, what can you say about this co-main? I mean, really, like I said, this top four, like the 4-pack at the top is great. And this co-main event, a lot of people are going to be picking it to be fight of the night, obviously, given the wild, chaotic, whatever adjective you can use that is probably going to take place tomorrow between Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Nico Price. This is a fight to me that I think people are going to throw records aside, throw potential going forward for either of these guys aside, and they're just going to want to watch and see what happens when these two guys close the octagon door. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, but you're crazy, but not for that.
You are absolutely right. What are your thoughts, man? This one has, I mean, just wild craziness scribbled all over it.
Yeah, man, Donald Biker Beard Cerrone against Nico Price with a piece of pineapple on his head. Yeah, looking forward to this one, man. I mean, fun fight, co-main event. Two guys who always go for broke, definitely Nico Price. You know, he got the weirdest KOs in his UFC career so far. Donald Cerrone, very tough guy, veteran. I don't have to introduce Cowboy; everybody knows. But Cowboy is getting older, you know, and you see that in some of his performances. I think his last best performance was probably against Alexander Hernandez, where he schooled him. It was beautiful to see. Nico Price, yeah, always fun fight, always game, always in fun fights, and I love to see Nico to fight Mike Perry in the future, man. That would be such a great fight. I think that's the fight to make.
That's
if I have
Florida
to,
man versus Florida man.
yeah,
No
that's yeah, that has to be in Florida. That fight.
doubt.
So, man, fun fight. If I have to pick here, I'm going with the guy with the crazy KOs. I'm taking Nico Price here. I think he stops Cerrone in the first or second round by landing a hammer and probably finishing the fight. He's crazy. He goes for broke and he has a very durable chin, Nico. So I'm taking Nico here.
When I was given my first opportunity to cover the sport you and I both know and love, I had my first post for some guy that, you and I both kind of know named Keith Schillen. And I was covering or recapping Nico Price versus Randy. Go ahead.
Can I do my Usman impersonation? Woo!
Woo!
Woo! Just go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Absolutely. I was recapping or play-by-playing Nico Price and Randy Brown. And I mean, it just got to a point where I just stopped typing, and I just was like sitting there, and you're the only one that can see, but like my jaw just, what did I just watch? And it is that often with Nico Price, and that's why I think so many fans love him. Not why I know so many fans love him. I do have Nico Price winning this fight as well. I also think it's going to be everything that we think it's going to shape up to be. Okay, main event time. Unless, go ahead.
Yeah, also both guys. I really like both guys. And Nico has always such an, how do you say that, such a positive vibe with him, when he talks and he is happy, you get happy as well. And that's something I always like when I watch fighter interviews. That's kind of like
loves
also,
to be there.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's not really comparable, but Amanda Ribas has that as well, man, as she talks. And I have that as well with her. It makes me happy.
Yeah, she just texted me, so.
Nah, she didn't. she won't cheat on me, so.
God, I love her. All right, so let's be very honest. This fight's taking place probably 2 years too late, right?
Yeah.
Should have happened in September of 2018. Didn't happen due to nasal passage surgery on the side of Colby Covington, and Darren Till stepped in that space, and we all know what happened there. Look, I just want to ask you another hypothetical here of if I'm crazy. We all know I'm crazy, but am I crazy for thinking this? If Tyron Woodley goes in there this weekend, okay, tomorrow, and he stares at Colby for 5 rounds, similar to how he did against Herbert Burns, and I mean, not necessarily how he did against Usman, because Usman took him down and kind of weared on him, but I mean, if Woodley goes in there and is timid and is trigger shy and doesn't throw, am I crazy for thinking this guy does not want to fight? Am I crazy for thinking this guy does not want to fight anymore?
If Woodley fights the way he fought his last 2 fights, he's done. He is like that sounds really disrespectful what I'm gonna say, but he's like in the Robbie Lawler conversation, but less popular. Then it's over with being a top fighter welterweight, I think. But the thing is, with Tyron Woodley in his last 2 fights, the Usman fight, he was sure he was going to win. He said, Usman is not even close to me as kind of a wrestler. I'm a Division 1 All-American. He was a Division 2. Yeah. I'm a much better fighter, he said, overall. He couldn't see himself. Man. Yeah, he didn't saw himself lose, so he underestimated Usman, and he got completely, how do you say that? Completely...
He got
dominated. Yeah.
Totally.
Then Gilbert Burns. He said, I took this fight to stay busy, but he's not on my level and I will easily win. Not happened. Burns also dominated the fight and won. Now we're at the point we're fighting Colby Covington here. Colby Covington was very respectful to Tyron Woodley. Yeah. And Tyron Woodley, pretty much, I think Tyron Woodley really wants to win this fight. I think this is something personal. I think he is pumped for this fight more than he was for the Usman and for the Burns fight. I think he knows Covington is good. Covington is a good fighter, and he will acknowledge that, I think. And that's why I think we maybe see the old Tyron Woodley back in the octagon, the more focused Tyron Woodley, the guy with the knockout punch. And with that said, I think Colby Covington is a very big favorite here. I agree with him being the favorite, definitely if I see his last fights in comparison to Woodley. But I'm going for the upset here. I think Woodley puts him out in the second round.
Ooh, spicy. Yo, so here's kind of what fascinates me, right? And Covington even touched on it himself when he was talking to Aaron Bronstedt earlier this week.
Yeah.
And what I thought about it stylistically, you cannot go into this fight with the same game plan you had against Robbie Lawler if you're Colby. You can't do it
No.
because if you're gonna just pepper this dude against the octagon and just put pressure, and which hey, it was it was mad effective against Robbie Lawler. I mean, he
Yeah.
beat him pillar to post. If you go in there with that same game plan, you are going to be susceptible to a right hand bomb counter at any moment. Like
Yeah.
at any moment. If he's putting together these combinations and leaving himself open with all that volume, he could go to sleep. He really could. I do not see Covington taking that approach though. And as he said earlier this week, he fully accepts that notion. I do like Covington here. I do think it's going to go the distance. I do think that we could have a split on our hands. And even if Tyron does not win this fight, I think all Woodley has to do is just look and resemble what, maybe not what he once was, but like just something other than what we saw in the last 10 rounds of the sample size in his career. And I think at the end of the day, like, he'll be all right. But I mean, like I said, if he goes in there and underwhelms again, I would even go farther saying that he's done. Like I just don't know if the guy wants to fight. Like if that's what happens, that's just kind of obviously from an outsider's perspective, my opinion. Do you have any other thoughts on this?
I only want to say the winner of this fight should fight Leon Edwards on the same card as Kamaru Usman fights Gilbert Burns.
I think that would be perfect. Do you see that actually happening though?
It should happen, man. I
agree.
Ariel Hawani probably keeps whining that Leon Edwards should get a title shot, but I think Leon Edwards needs one more fight, a top-level fight, and the winner of this fight should fight Leon Edwards, and the winner of that fight should fight the winner of Gilbert Burns against Kamaru Usman. That's the fight to make.
I agree. I mean, that it seems like, as far as logic is concerned, that's the logic to go with as far as determining the next number one contender. The winner of this fight could very easily win or lose against Leon Edwards. You're splitting hairs when you get to the top of this division, especially with how many wrestlers and fantastic ground fighters there are. One of the best divisions in the sport for a reason, and I think this main event tomorrow night is going to resemble that. All right, picks of the night, and let's just rehash this real quick so we just know what we aren't siding on. We are opposite on the main event. I'm continuing to go down. We both picked Holland, right?
Yeah.
And then you have
Alpar
and you have Rose Clark. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Davidson and Marcel. Davidson up by one pick. I am up by one pick on you, so we are dead even just about, and you and I are killing it as well, picking that over a 65% clip. Now we do the fun stuff. We have picks for awards and accolades, as we have the fight of the night, or do we do performances first?
We do fight first this time, maybe fun.
Fight of the night for me, I mean, I'm not gonna be the guy that picks Cowboy and Price. Let's go with Holland and Stewart.
All right. I'm going with Journey Newson against Randy Costin.
That would be my next one. Performances of the night, we'll go ahead and just group all four in them. Give me Chimaev, Nico Price, TJ Laramie, and let's go with Mackenzie Dern.
Tyron Woodley, Nico Price, Hamzat Chimaev, Mayra Bueno Silva.
Upset of the night, Sarah Alpar for me.
Ryan Spann.
Right now, yeah. I can't believe he's the underdog. I really can't believe he's the underdog. I just have to say that. I mean, Dvorak too. Like, yeah, I mean, and then lock of the night. Well, I mean, if you're gonna go outside of Chimaev, I'd go with Laramie. But like, Chimaev is the pick.
Smack God told me not to pick any woman fights with a lock pick, so I'm not going to do that.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
My buddy bet $200 on Mason Barber to beat Roxanne Modafferi. How'd that go?
Oh, fucking hell, man. That's awful. I'm taking... give me TJ Laramie, man. I think that's the most safe pick.
And with that, we conclude. I believe I speak for both of us and many MMA fans when I say, I am jacked for tomorrow night. This is the first fight card, I believe, in a while. While we appreciate the UFC, obviously, and the candor for putting on fights no matter what, man, this card's got just a little bit of feel of a little bit something different as far as the name value is concerned. And every fight card is going to have us jacked, but, this one is just a little bit different, at least on the scope of it. You have any parting thoughts, my man?
No, nothing. I'm just like, enjoy the fights, man. Great card. I'll be fully awake for this one, I'm sure. Normally, I sometimes I'm watch this I think that's
like you're barely waking up.
Yeah, it's sometimes, but it's normally with only one fight, and then I'm back again at it. For example, if you can see it on my, I'm doing MMA decisions now as well, as you know. I'm doing. If you don't see my name in a UFC event with a decision, you know I fell asleep.
You were asleep.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be jacked for 254 then, right? Because, man, we got that European time slot, at least going forward. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's true. But the October 3rd card, the Holm against Aldana, that main card starts at 4:30 a.m. over here, man. That's crazy.
4:30. So what? That'd be 10:30 Eastern?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
10:30. Yikes. That's late.
Yeah, that's late for me. It's 4:30 a.m.
Well, yeah, all the cards used to be at 10 Eastern, all of them on FS1. All used to be at 10 Eastern, but 10:30. Yikes.
Yeah.
Jeez. We will go ahead and get on out of here. We'll be back next week. I don't feel like there needs to be a whole lot of lead up as to what we've got next week. Man, am I pumped for that. I think it's fight of the year, Adesanya and Costa. We'll be here to break it down next week for you on the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network. For my man Marcel, AJ, who is not here, and me, we're signing off.